how can you help somebody who's watching? What are you doing? You're working with the identity, you're working through fear, and how with what you're doing, is that going to help people reduce their stress?
Yeah. Well, so what we're doing at Identity Exchange, I mean, we have this, we have a company and we have a nonprofit, and we work with helping people and organizations discover their identity. Like I said earlier, the only organizing principle is identity. Whether you're talking to a sixth grader or a CEO, they're no different. Or a Muslim or an atheist, they're all the same. They're all dealing with this wrong sense of identity. And so our whole thing is like, whatever we're going to do, identity is the primer that makes all other things work. You can put the most expensive paint on a wall that there is and it'll peel off eventually, but you prime that wall and even less expensive paint will stick forever. It's the primer. What's the primer? Your identity is the primer. And then everything else God wants to invite into you, every other course you take, every other training you go through. It's remarkable. That beautiful training, whether it's special forces or accounting or whatever it is, goes over that gorgeous identity and it shuffles. But you paint that training over a false identity, it's not going to last. It can't cover it. So that's what we do. We call ourselves the primer to all other kind of learning and training, just because we want to train the real you. The real you is magnificent, beautiful. And I'll say one thing about that. It's like, that's why the great commandment is so important. When Jesus says, when they ask him, what's the great? He says, love God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbor in the same way that you love yourself. And I always ask people, do you love God with your heart, mind, soul, all your heart, mind, soul, and strength? I don't even know what that means. What is Jesus telling us to do? To love a God we've never seen, that we can't really imagine with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength? That's impossible. He can't mean love that guy over there he can't mean that. He means something much greater than that. What's he saying? God is love. Here's what he's saying. The God who is love with everything that you have.